Hi guys, it's Catherine here. So I've posted quite a bit of Korean pronunciation tip kind of TikToks, and those have gained some attention. And a lot of people have been asking me how I learned Korean because I am self-taught. That's what I'm gonna help you guys with today. Yeah.
I'm eating a candy because I just finished eating dinner a while ago. Doesn't feel like it's digesting very well, so when people asked me to make a video to talk about how I learned Korean, honestly, I was a little unsure because I don't think I'm the best person to go to ask for Korean learning tips. I was very dedicated in the beginning, and I learned Hangul. I finished learning Hangul, and then I just started reading whatever I could find, reading lyrics, reading subtitles, reading tweets, reading anything I could find that was in Korean. And after that, I kind of just stopped. I stopped actively trying to learn Korean. What I started to do was I watch a lot of variety shows. I watch a lot of K-dramas. I watch a lot of idol contents. So I'm constantly, and I also listen to a lot of K-pop, so I'm constantly listening to a lot of Korean. And through that, I just pick up words. My brain just it just picks words. I don't really have control over that. It just kind of does it itself. I basically learned Korean through this way after learning the basics. I learned Korean pretty much unconsciously. I'm not super dedicated and super focused on it, which is why I don't think I'm the best person to go to for tips to learn Korean, but I can tell you how I learned Korean. So for Korean, you want to start with Hangul. When you're learning Hangul, how I did it was I just searched up on Google Hangul, Korean alphabets, right? And a lot of web pages will pop up. And so basically what you do is you look through each web page and you write it down. I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I just wrote down what each of the Hanguls were and what their pronunciations were. So you write that down and you want to learn the pronunciation, and the best way to learn pronunciation is to listen to it. So you would go to YouTube, you would search up videos that are really helpful for learning Hangul. When anyone asks me what's a good website or what's a good app or what are some good books to use, I have no idea. The only channel I've ever used for learning Korean, and the only channel that I keep going back to, is Talk to Me in Korean. And the reason why I really like Talk to Me in Korean is not only does it have an app, not only does it have a very organized YouTube channel, it also has a website. If you go in, there are their workbooks, their textbooks that you can purchase, or there are the free PDF versions of the textbooks and workbooks. So you can go ahead and click into those and print them out yourself. I used some of their textbooks. I watch a lot of videos from them when I have any questions with Korean. The first step to learning Korean is Hangul, right? After that, you want to read. Just read. Other than learning the basic vocabularies, basic conversations, other than learning how to say hello, how to introduce yourself, and some very useful daily conversational Korean or travel Korean, you want to read. I feel like this is something that is always ignored or missed out on when it comes to learning a language. You have no idea how much reading actually helps you. It's just like your native language. The more you read in that language, the better your ability in speaking that language is going to be. The more vocabulary you'll be able to gain. So that's really important. So what I did was I read tweets. The only group that I liked at that time was BTS. So what I basically did was I just scrolled through their Twitter page and I just read every single one of their tweets. No matter if I understand them or not, I just read every single tweet to improve my reading. This is a really good thing. It'll come in very handy. Training your reading skills will come in very handy as you go on when you're learning this language. After you read all of that, you just want to start finding text materials or websites or apps that could really help you with learning more vocabularies, learning more grammar. Okay? Now, when it comes to grammar and vocabularies, I learned it all naturally through listening. Most of my Korean that I do know now comes from listening to variety shows, listening to songs, listening to the K-dramas, and listening to Koreans when they speak, listening to the idols when they speak. That's how I really quickly gained vocabulary. I do have 2 books for Korean learning, but they're both Chinese books. Although this is in Chinese, I personally think it would be a good example of what you want to find, what you want to look for in a textbook or workbook. So this textbook, it has vocabularies, grammar, reading, writing. What I really like about this book specifically is that it has so many vocabularies. Like here from the beginning, it has all of these. It has pictures, and then it has the vocabularies right next to the pictures. It also has a disc that comes with it that I can listen to. Right here, this is the disc. I can listen to it, listen to the pronunciations, and then you got practices. These are the practices. So this is a textbook and workbook in one. So this is why I like this book. Like here, it's just lists of vocabularies and what it means, its definition, and how to use it in sentences. And it has these workbook parts that you can use in between each section in a unit. And also in the back it has conversations. For example, 이 바지는 어때요? 작아서 안 되겠어요. So it has these conversations that you can look, and it also has the translations. So if you are a Chinese speaker, you can speak Chinese and you can read Chinese. This is a good book for you to use. For those of you who are not Chinese speakers, I would have to recommend Talk to Me in Korean books, because that is the only English Korean textbook that I have found or have used before. Try different books out to see what really works for you. And then after really start to learn the language, you want to keep listening to it. So, third step. Listen to a lot of Korean. If you're interested in Korean, you're probably already interested in popular Korean culture, which is K-pop, K-drama, K-variety shows, and K-movies, K-beauty, and K-fashion. So what would really help is watch a lot of Korean YouTube. The videos that you would really be able to hear how Koreans use Korean are like videos like Hi Teenager is an interesting channel you would like to you could check out. You could check it out. It has a lot of like teenager related contents. One series that I really enjoy is Pick a Person by Outfit, or Pick a Person by Their Fashion. There's a lot of Korean in the videos. Obviously they all use Korean, and there are subtitles. There are the Korean subtitles, and then there are English subtitles. How I would recommend you do this is often what I did. Whatever video you can find that has English and Korean subtitles at the same time, go through it once with English subtitles so that you know exactly what they're saying. And then go through it again by reading the Korean subtitles and listening to what they're saying. Because oftentimes we focus so much on the English subtitles that we just don't pay attention to the Korean. The good thing about reading the Korean subtitles is that you would be able to pick out the words that you don't know. Sometimes when it's put in context, you would be able to figure out what it means without looking it up. But when you can find words that you don't know what it means, it would be really helpful to look it up, type in the Korean word, and say English. Or you could use the Korean word, type it out first, the Korean word, and then use Korean and say 영어로, which means translating that to English. There will be a lot of links. You can click into them and check out the translations. I found that very helpful. One of my favorite variety shows, Korean variety shows that's on YouTube is Hello Counselor. It's a very interesting show. You see a lot of very, very interesting people on the show. Interesting in a not very good way. So you can watch that. It's very enjoyable. And then when you get to a good level that you can understand most of what they're saying, you want to take your eyes away from the subtitles and just listen. Only listen. Now, some apps that I found pretty useful for helping me study Korean. One is Duolingo. It really reinforces your memory, the stuff that you've learned. And then you have HiNative. HiNative is an app where you can, you choose your native language and then you choose the language that you're interested in, and you can ask questions in the app. A lot of people would ask these kind of questions. It's like they make a sentence in that language and then they ask, does this make sense? And then people who speak that language would tell them if it makes sense. HiNative has been really helpful in the past too. Before I even downloaded the app, the links were always on Google. So whenever I ask like this Korean word in English or this word in Korean, HiNative is always a link that would pop up with the answer already provided. So HiNative is a good app to use. Now, in terms of practicing Korean in action, so basically talking to people in Korean, one place that I would suggest is my Discord link. My Discord link, it actually has a Korean practice channel where you can type in Korean, and there is also a voice channel where we can talk in Korean. So if you are interested, you can join my Discord. I will have it linked in the description box down below so that you can access it. Another one that I'm going to suggest is a controversial one. I have met one person who I met on this app. It was a very, very awkward meeting. Some other story time I would have to make. If you guys want me to make a story time about some good times that I spent in Korea, some of the stories that I have about my time in Korea, if you guys do want some of that story time, let me know in the comment section down below and I'll make separate videos about it. This app is called Meeff, M-E-E-F-F. A lot of people don't have a good experience with it, but it's because they actually try to meet people, to meet in person on that app. Well, for me, that was never my intention. I just want to language exchange, and the app is made for language exchange, except it's made in a dating app format. So it's kind of like Tinder. There's an X and then there is a heart. So if you want to be friends with this person, you press the heart. If you don't want to, you press the X and you move on. So basically, if you match with a person, you can open up the chat room and you can start chatting. If the conversation works out really well, the person might ask to move to a different place to chat. Most of the time they will either ask for Kakao Talk or Line. Warning though, there are a lot of guys who are just there for friends with benefits. There is a common misconception, it's a stereotype I would say, that Western girls, any girl who's not Asian, is easy to bring to bed. So beware of that. And usually if a guy is only looking for people to have sex with, he will have that in his profile. He will say pervert or perv in his profile, or friends with benefits, FWB, in his profile. And if you do see that, even if he's very good looking, don't add him. There are also plenty of people who just want to learn a different language, and you can help them with that, and they can help you with Korean. If you have any more questions, make sure to leave it in the comment section down below. If you do want the story times of my time in Korea, let me know also. And let me know if this video actually helped. And if you guys want me to, I can definitely make videos where I teach you Korean, if you do want that, and I'll make it into like different topics. So let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe to my channel for more, and please check out my dance covers and my reaction videos. They're pretty great. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!